Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Club Collab. I'm waiting for my guest, waiting for my host. There he is. Oh, let's see. What's up, broski? Change your username, bro, before I let you on. No, I'm just kidding. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. What's up, bro? Where you at? Welcome.
Oh, I'm here, bro. It's good to be back. It's been a while.
Let's go, baby. It has been a while. Getting a little bit of feedback. I don't know if it's on your end or my end. Oh, it is on my end. Hold on real quick, bro. Hold on. It's my end. It's my end. Like brand newbies again, bro.
Oh, bro. I'm in the
here we
show.
Hold on real quick. I think what's going on is I got YouTube running in the background. So cool. So we got 10 people. Awesome, guys. Let's go in here. Let's start. One thing I want to suggest is tonight we're not holding nothing. We're gonna get into some things and some deal breakdowns, how you guys can work, how we can work together, collaborate. What I want you to do is share this with somebody. Share this with one person that you know would benefit from this call. Today we got an interesting deal breakdown, bro. Is we're gonna talk about what is it called? How to buying properties with tenants in place and how you can get how to approach it, how to get a discount, but also how it can go bad, right, Ryan? You want to talk about that? What we're going to cover on that aspect of that?
Yes. Spoiler alert. I'm going through this right now. So we are currently working with another wholesaler, different city. Got the everything. Everyone's good to go, but tenants are in place and they're being pretty difficult to get out. So
don't give the whole spiel, bro. I just wanted to touch on it just a little bit because what we want to do is we want to save that. We want to save that for the rest of the show. So cool, guys. Thank you. We got 18 people on. We got quite a bit coming in from Facebook, from YouTube. So it's weird. One of the so let's see who's on here. So Alejandro says, "What's up, Max? What's up, bro? What's going on?" Jay, what's up, brother? How you doing? Glad to be here, Max and Ryan. Let's go. Who we got here? Ems, what's up, man? How's it going? Julio, what's up, bro? How's it going? It looks like, let me check, make sure we're live on Facebook as well, bro, because I'm looking at Facebook and it looks like it says the stream has stopped, bro. Oh no, we're still on. Okay, perfect. It says we're still live on Facebook, and then I just want to make sure, bro, because we've had some haters reporting us. Reporting me anyways. I'm still locked out of I'm still locked out of IG. It's crazy. I don't know, but there seems to be some haterade off the there seems to be some hating out there. I don't know who, I don't know what's up, but they ended up my IG account got suspended, but we're here live in full effect. So Sebastian's in the house. What's up? Let's go. Just got off a call with the seller for a seller finance deal. I love it. Let's go. Steven says, "What's up, gentlemen?" Yeah, Steven Valencia said, "What's up, gentlemen? I'm here listening and watching, dropping those gems." Yes, we are. We're gonna let a couple people jump on. But Ryan, how you been, bro? What's new? We're back.
Been good, bro. Been good, man. I'm trying to break you out of jail. Free Max Jimenez. We need you back, bro.
We got to start. I need everyone to start a campaign, free the real Max Jimenez, and send the request over to Instagram and Facebook, obviously, because Facebook owns the Instagram, and we got to start the campaign, free the real Max Jimenez. How many are you down for that? Start bombarding them, free the real Max Jimenez, right? Because man, I'm unable to do, I can't do absolutely anything on it. I can't even log in. But it is what it is, bro. We're pushing through. We're still doing what we do. We're here live, tonight. What's that, brother?
It won't hold us back, bro.
So one of the things is Gabe said, let's go. I love it, Gabe. Thank you. Thank you for being on. It says my boy is back. Bro, for now, shoot. It's I don't know what's going on. You should see my emails to IG. It's been crazy, brother. Says, what up, Max and Ryan? What up, Carlos? How you doing, bro?
Carlos.
Carlos in the house. We got Gabe said, miss you on IG, bro. I know. It's not the same, bro. It's not the same. It's not the same, but we'll get a little bit into that. I got some plans for that, and it is what it is, bro. There's nothing I can do about it. You know, and again, we're here, so we're here live. So man, we got quite a bit of people on right now. So cool. So Ryan, so want to start off a little bit about, obviously we had a little bit of a pause on the show, the club collab show, and basically he said nothing can stop you. I think that's Julio, I want to say, or who was that said that? For some reason Facebook doesn't yeah, for some reason Facebook doesn't show the name. I don't know why. And then we got another one. First time catching the live. I don't know why Facebook don't show the name, bro. It's terrible. And then Alejandro said, they got you like little Bootsy, laugh out loud, free Max. I know, man. What did I post? I'm like, you know, me and Ryan, we were talking about this today, right, Ryan? Like, we've seen some accounts that are posting. I mean, man, it's some people that we know too, right? Personally, that post some crazy. Some people cross the line and their account's still up. That's why I said this, guys. I believe this with all my heart, because I know I don't post anything. I don't ever spam anybody. I don't do any of that. There's some haters out there that went on my account or send the bots and basically went through and reported it. So it's all good. It's all good. You know, nothing can stop y'all, right? That's where we got. I think that's Isaac, because y'all is from Texas. And for some reason I can't see the name, but I believe is Isaac. I want to say Andrew, fire emojis. Cool. So let's get to it. Let's see. Guillermo said they didn't like all that fire you've been dropping. Probably not, man, because you know there's obviously it's not just talking about and dropping fire, but also it's doing it, right? That's the big difference. So Jay said, I think you touch feelings about those fake gurus.
I think Jay's right. I think Jay's the closest one so far, because we all know, we've heard everyone else. We hear what Max says. Big difference. I think you're scaring a lot of people, brother. They're doing everything they can to lock you up. It's all good.
Oh, I know, bro. I know it is. Again, like I said, you know, you and I were talking about this today, is that there's nothing that I posted that would say, hey, your account's going to get deleted or disabled or whatever the case may be. So that's the only thing that I can think of. But you're right, Jay. I think it is. They're shaking in their boots. But we ain't going away, bro. We ain't going away. So where there's a will, there's a way. So again, let's go back to this show. Thank you, everyone, for being on here, the club collab. And you know, one thing that we used to do, the main goal for the show originally was obviously to come on here, collaborate with you guys, and basically, you know, talk about deals, talk about situations. We're gonna do something different now going forward. Is we're gonna go, you know, and again, I'm gonna do a couple of polls on YouTube, on Facebook, you know, and then Ryan will help me out through Instagram for a little bit of what, because there's other things that we're gonna talk about. We're gonna go through certain documents. As a matter of fact, we're going to have experts come on. And when I mean experts, we're going to have, you know, title companies, you know, TCs that do this across the country. We're going to have attorneys next week. You guys got to block this out. I'm announcing it right now. Next Monday, I'm going to have Al Nicoletti. He's a probate attorney from Florida. How many of you guys want to see that? Drop some fire emojis, some thumbs up. Make the algorithm share this live with somebody. That way they can share this video. Drop some fire emojis if you guys want to be on. If you guys are going to be on the live, some thumbs up with us next week when we have Al Nicoletti. He's a probate attorney out of what is it called, Florida, and he's gonna be on. Man, you guys, you got to bring your questions. Make sure that you invite someone. Alejandro, I appreciate it. Jay, thank you for the fire emojis. Guillermo says thank you for he dropping some fire emojis. Thank you for the fire emojis, everyone. Drop those fire emojis, those thumbs up. He's going to be on next week with me. Really nice guy. Met him in Houston. A wealth of knowledge. He's man, that guy's like a walking encyclopedia when it comes to probates. And man, he's fabulous. So make sure that you bring your questions, all your probate questions. And so that's what we want to do, Ryan. I mean, you want to talk a little bit more about what else we're going to be doing on the show moving forward?
Yeah, no, I think that's great, man. I mean, guys, right there, free resource. We're bringing an actual attorney on that is going to help, help with probate. That's something that we all go through. One of the biggest reasons I do this, along with Max, is I didn't have this help when I was starting off. I've got my teeth kicked in, had a lot of hard times. So if we can help y'all avoid that, saying y'all, because I know some people from Texas here, if we can help you guys avoid what we had to go through, that's what we're all about. This is for everyone. People who, just getting started, people who are been doing this for a while that need help. I mean, everyone has something that they can provide value for. We just want to provide value to as many people as possible in this industry and pay it forward and help you guys advance your career and get you to the next level.
Yeah, 100%. And now here's the cool thing though, guys, is our goal for this is not just to bring guests and talk about their story, how they started. Like, I love all that, but honestly, like that only helps it helps for motivation. It's great. You learn a lot. But what I want to do is I want to bring people to come on here and actually talk about stuff that you can implement, how to approach a deal, I might even have my sales coach come on. I mean, we'll see. He's a grumpy old man, but but he's a killer. And so he might come on. Who knows, right? Here's the thing and that's why we want to separate. So, right. And here's the thing. And the reason why we're doing this is not only because we want to bring that to you guys, so you're able to, not only hear the stories of how people started, all this other stuff. We want you to know and want you to take value and want you to take things that you can implement, right? That are going to be helpful. So when you get off the call, when you get off the live on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, you're going to be ready to go implement whatever it is, that thing that we talked about today. So, but yeah, man, make sure you guys lock this date in. It is very important. Someone lock this date in. I see a lot of you guys dropping fire emojis. I appreciate it. That way on Tuesday, lock in Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Arizona time, I think it's 9 p.m. Central Standard Time and 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, guys, check this out. I want to show support for Al Nicoletti, the attorney, because he's in Florida. It's going to be 10 p.m. his night, and he has been he's coming on with us. So he's basically coming on to let us know that he's coming on to basically be with us, right? So it's awesome to have those type of relationships to do that. So anything else we got to announce, Ryan? We're gonna invite people, go through agreements, look at our contracts, and then basically what is it called? We're gonna talk about deals and how people can collaborate with us. Anything else that I'm missing there?
That's it, man. But it's really, these are the real things that we're going through and people that we're working through, what they're going through today in today's market, stuff that we have real life experience in. So this is, again, a great resource for people to come and learn. Like Max said earlier, this isn't about, hey, this is how I got started or hear my backstory. There's plenty of those out there. You can get on YouTube. You can listen to anyone. That's going to be there. What Max and I want to bring is something different. Key thing is actionable. I think Max said something like that earlier, right? Something that you guys can take action on right away and go implement it right into your business. So hopefully, again, you guys join, continue to see who we bring on, and we're going to continue to bring as much information as possible for you guys.
Yep. So Abel said, right on, seminars need more of showings, how than motivational fluff. 100%. And I found out who said nothing could stop y'all. That wasn't my friend Isaac. That was actually Julio, my brother-in-law. So he's like, I don't know, you're from Texas, bro. I'm just kidding. So let's talk about two things we're gonna cover today. Obviously we hit it a little bit on the touch on it, right? A little bit on it. So when you're talking to a seller that is either a landlord or, an absentee owner, potentially, it doesn't necessarily have to be a landlord, because a lot of times, the difference between a landlord and actually just an absentee owner is that They could be the same, but officially a landlord has their property registered, right, with the county as a rental property, where an absentee owner just owns another property in another state. Now, the difference is that when it's an official landlord, that means they actually rent the property out, right? It's a rental for them. When you have an absentee owner, that means that you just own it, right? You just happen to, it could be your vacation house, it could be some just another property where you come to into another state. So when you're talking to somebody, regardless, because an absentee can rent that property too, right? You don't know. So what happens is that when you're talking to somebody who's got a second property, in this case, we'll just leave it at that, and they have somebody living in that property that's actually paying them rent, that's paying them in a monthly income, now they become tenants, right? They become tenants. Whether there's a lease in place or not, they legally become tenants when there's a tender being changed, right? Which is when the people are paying something monthly. It doesn't matter if the rents are $1,500 a month and somebody pays $500 a month. That is a tenant that can legally show in court that they actually they're leasing the property. So you disagree with that, Ryan, or do you have anything to add to that?
No, that's great. That covers everything there.
So what does that mean? What does that mean for you, Ryan, that has to sell that property? If you have somebody that's in that property that's paying you, regardless, right? If it's $1,500 a month, or if it's regardless if the rents are going for $1,500 a month, and this person's paying you only $500 a month, what does that mean for you as the owner of that property?
For me as the owner of the property, so that basically means that I have to deal with the tenant, right? Like they're legally, I can't just say, hey, I'm selling the property tomorrow. Can't just kick them out. There's a process. Maybe that would better answer your question. There's a process if I'm the owner, I have tenants.
Exactly, bro. Right. So you can do that depending on, the tenants. They might be someone that are cool. Like, hey, maybe you have a verbal agreement or something, right? Maybe they're like, you known them for a while. So, hey, maybe you set something up like, up front, like, hey, I'm gonna let you stay here, but in 3 months you got to get out, right? Or in 4 months, whatever that is. But you're right though, as well. If for some reason you wanted to kick them out and they wanted to fight you on it, now you got to do an eviction. You got to do a 30-day, not eviction, sorry. Got to give them a 30-day notice, right? And then once that 30-day notice is, now they have those full 30 days to move out, right? And so what happens when we're talking to, there's a lot of people out there, right? Whether they are tenants, or whether they're absentee owners or whether they're actually landlords that owned a lot of properties with tenants in place that want to sell, but they either came into an agreement with someone, right, on a lease, or maybe they just been there too long. They don't actually want to kick them out. I mean, have you, we talked to a lot of those, right, Ryan?
Yeah, I run into that quite a bit. That's been a big challenge right now for some of our properties in the Midwest. They don't want to mess with the tenant.
Yeah. And and rightfully so, right? Because like the past 2.5 years now, I mean, it's been crazy. It's been so hard to kick a tenant out, right? Evict someone out of their property because of COVID, and then the moratorium, or whatever you call that, right? Yeah. Can't remember the word, but you know what I mean? It's been a little harder to kick people out. It's starting to loosen up a little bit now, but you still have to go through the process. So what are we running into? I mean, you're running now, let's say that you're talking to a seller, right? Whether they call through your PPC, whether it's an inbound seller, PPC, direct mail, whatever the case may be, or maybe you're cold calling them, and now they're saying that they have a tenant in place. You want to talk about how you guys got in contact with that seller, as far as the one that's in Kingman?
Yeah. So seller reached out on PPC a while ago. We've been kind of dealing with this back and forth. Anyways, we finally got back in touch with the seller, and lo and behold, he has tenants. A little bit of I don't want to jump too far ahead, but when they have tenants, there's certain situations you got to be aware of, right? Are they aware that you're selling? Are they on a month-to-month lease? What are they paying? Sellers are, or just like homeowners, the sellers, they're risk adverse, right? They're scared as well. They don't want to mess up the tenants they have, because the tenants could mess up their house, before they leave. if we don't end up buying the house, or if you don't end up buying the house and you let the tenants know you're going to sell, maybe the tenants are going to move out. And now the seller again is like worried that he's not going to get rent. So there's a lot of scenarios that's going through the seller's head. And again, it's mostly just what's going to be more secure for them. And that's what we got. That's where we come into play, right? Evaluate the situation and provide our options. Here are our options that we can help you with, Mr. Seller.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, guys. For those of you that are watching, I know there's quite a bit of you on here. Think about scenarios that you have right now, sellers that you're talking to. I want you to drop. Remember, this is a live show. I want your participation. If you have any questions or anything that's come up before in a conversation with the seller that has a tenant in place, anything that you guys have run into, or maybe right now you're in a situation yourself, drop your comments, your questions in there. What do you guys thought so far about this? Because I'm going to tell you something. There's going to be, if you're not prepared for this, and this is why we wanted to kick the show off with this, because the first show anyways back, is because there's going to be a lot of opportunities like this, where you're going to be talking to a motivated seller, quote unquote, that actually wants to sell the property, that has a tenant in place. They don't no longer want to be landlords. They either want to cash out, or they want to, whatever the case may be. I actually just talked to one today. You were here, right, Ryan? I talked to a seller today. Yeah. He's like, he had a tenant that hasn't paid rent in 2 years. And I'm like, what's, well, he said he hasn't paid rent. And I said, well, how long has that been going on? He goes, for about a year and a half. And I said, wow. Okay, tell me more about that. Yeah, I let him stay there, but now I'm done. I don't want to even. And I said, so what's stopping you from evicting the tenant? And he's like, he didn't know what to say. Incredible, right? Like the tenant is staying there for free, and this seller that I'm talking to is trying to move on, but he can't find somebody to sell the property to because the tenant's in there. Guys, there's going to be a lot of opportunities like this. When you're talking to prospects, and you're talking right now, especially in this market, the way it's shifting, there's going to be people that want to liquidate some of the properties, and they're going to have tenants in place. So I want you to drop your questions. I want you to drop your comments on here about this certain scenario, because what I'm going to talk about next is how do you approach this type of seller that has this situation, because you have to know what to say. And that's the first thing, right? And then Ryan will kind of break into what you need to look out for, because what happens is that even though the sellers agree to do certain things with you when you're buying these properties, you got to cover yourself. You got to make sure that, because this thing can go south pretty fast. Am I wrong, Ryan, on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And even kind of piggyback off of what you're saying, guys, with the opportunity, this is where you're going to win the actual property from anybody else, because you have to solve this problem. If you're able to solve this problem, you're most likely going to win this property, even if somebody else is offering more but doesn't want to take care of the problem. So this is where, again, you can really separate yourself and learn this and put yourself ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. I love that point, bro. I think, what up, Kenneth? How you doing, bro? So what happens is that this is where you have to know what to ask. This is where you have to position yourself as the problem solver, what you just said, right, Ryan? Because a lot of people are going to probably not want to deal with this type of situation, and rightfully so, man, because it can get pretty hectic. And if it's not a good deal, man, it's not going to be worth it, obviously, right? And we've done so many transactions we bought with tenants in place, and a lot of them go good, a lot of them don't. I mean, there's one right now that I think that Brady's been dealing with for 2 years now, right? that we ended up buying with the tenant that we were going to kick them out. But let's see. Jay has a question here. He says, what happens in the transaction when the tenant is awful and not playing along in the transaction, assuming that they are month to month? Beautiful question. That's going to lead us into our second segment of this. But right now, I want to talk to you a little bit about how do we approach this, right? So, okay. So I called Ryan. Ryan is a seller, right? Ryan is a seller. He's got a tenant in place in the situation, Jay, that you just explained. So Ryan has two options, right? This is where I got to discover now. Ryan I'm building a rapport with Ryan. I start asking him questions, and he says it's a rental property. It's currently occupied. And now I'm going to ask Ryan, I'm going to say, Ryan, okay, so now we know we have the tenant, and I'm going to ask the questions that I need to ask, which is, okay, is the tenant on a long-term lease, or are they month to month? That's the first thing I want to know, right? So then, obviously Ryan's going to say, no, Max, they don't have any lease. They're on a month to month. Perfect. So hey Ryan, are the tenants current? That's the second thing I'm going to say. Do they pay? Do they pay? And are they current? This is going to tell me, what is that going to tell me, Ryan, when I ask you that question?
It's going to give you a good understanding of what type of tenants you're dealing with. All right.
That exactly. Because you know, if I asked you, Ryan, if I ask you, are they bad or good tenants? What are you going to tell me?
Oh, they're good tenants. They're good. Yeah. Yeah. Buy my house.
But if I ask you, hey, are they current or are they behind on payments? Because why do you think you have to answer that honestly? Right, Ryan? Why do you think you have to answer that honestly? If I ask you that question,
right? You got to disclose.
You got to disclose. Yep. Because I'm going to ask you for proof, right? I'm going to ask you for the rents, for the deposits. So the first question is, okay, is the tenant month to month or are they on a long-term lease? If it's a long-term lease, okay, when does the lease expire? Now it's going to give me a good idea how much I can negotiate. I don't want you to, you guys that are listening, don't stay away from long-term lease deals. If you can get a really good deal where you can actually get a credit back from the seller. So let's say that the rent is $800. Maybe you can get a credit per month at, $400 or $500. You can pass that on to your buyer. You know what I'm saying? As basically as an incentive to buy the property with the tenant in place. So the second question is going to be, so are they current or are they behind on the payments? Because now, again, if I ask Ryan, hey, are they good tenants or bad tenants? Then obviously he's going to say they're great, just like you said earlier. So we want to find that out. And the last thing is I'm going to ask you, Ryan, and so I'm going to say, hey, Ryan, just out of curiosity, when I buy this property from you, what's going to happen to the tenants? Right? And why do I ask that? Go ahead.
Yeah, because you're wanting to understand what are you getting yourself into, and I think what you're heading to is it helps you negotiate. This is where we leverage what the scenario is, what the price that we want to offer.
Yeah. So basically, that scenario. So if I ask you, so again, are they long-term lease, short or month to month, whatever? Are they current? Are they behind on payments? And then the last one was when you sell the property, what's going to happen to the tenants? Because what I want Ryan to say is, I want him to say, hey Max, I wanted to sell the property as is with tenants in place. Or he's going to say, look, if you make me an offer and we agree on it, I'm going to give the tenants the 30-day notice to get out. Perfect. That's the best scenario right there. Right. I'm going to tell the tenants to move out. But guess what? 7, 8 out of 10 times, I wouldn't say that much. Maybe 50, 60% of the time, sellers don't want to do that. Correct, Ryan? Probably more than that, right? Maybe 70% of the time.
Like lately, like you're saying, since the last 2 years, it's changed a little bit more. I think it's gotten a lot tougher. They don't want to deal with it. Risk. They don't want to deal with it. To handle it.
Exactly. And we've been seeing that a lot. I mean, the guy I talked to today, he's like, I prefer you just buy it as is. I was talking to him on the phone. He's like, I don't want to deal with this. I prefer you buy it as is. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to get into the next conversation. I want to see what Alex's question is. When getting a property under contract, do you always make sure the tenants are kicked out unless they pay on time? And how would you word it to the seller? Perfect. We're getting into that right now. Jay says, motivation, gain, and pain for seller. Exactly. Sebastian said, lost me at the credit being passed on to the buyer. Okay, so what we've done before, let's say that I'm talking to Ryan. Ryan's the seller. He says, Max, the tenants have a lease until December. Perfect. How much are you getting in rents? $1,000. Okay. So in order for me to buy this property and pay Ryan cash, I need to negotiate something else besides a good deal. So what we'll do is, what I'm going to do is we can get it two ways. We can get the price reduced, or we can have the seller give us rent credits, one of the two, right? So if Ryan is charging $1,000 a month, I'm going to try to get the $1,000 a month. So that means Ryan's got to give me $6,000 in rent credits. And I'm going to pass that over to our buyer. So it's essentially, our buyer is actually getting 6 months paid up front in case the tenant doesn't pay. Now, if Ryan says, well, no, I can't do 1,000. I can, that 1,000's too much. Okay, well, how much rent credits can you give me? So I can make this deal happen for you. Right now, remember, there's got to be pain there. No seller is going to do this. This is in the negotiation phase. No seller is going to say, oh, Max, here you go, rent credits. You got to negotiate this. If they don't want to reduce the price, then you ask for credits, things like that. So if he only gives me $500 in credits, well, that's only half the rent. A buyer will still be happy, right? Because we've done this before, right, Ryan? We did this in the Buckeye deal, right? We got what, 3 months of credit,
3
right?
to 4 months. Yep.
3 to 4 months of full, right? Full, I think it was, or something like that.
$900 a month, I remember right. Yeah, see? Yep.
Yeah, so the seller was giving us back, and what we were doing is we were actually passing that down to our buyer outside of our assignment agreement. So that's how, Sebastian, that's how you can, buy a property. Obviously, if it's longer than 6 months, that might be tougher, but because now you're getting into very long term, like, you don't know what's going to happen. But I think 6 months or less, any buyer would be happy to actually obtain those credits and basically, hopefully, Sebastian, that cleared up. Let me know in the comment section if that cleared up for you. Okay, let's go back. So now we're talking. He says, hey, if they tell me, if Ryan says like, hey, I want to basically sell you the property and but I'm gonna tell tenants to get out, then we're all good, right? The price makes sense, the property will be vacant. That's the scenario that we want. But like Ryan mentioned earlier, we know, right, Ryan, that's not happening right now. The things that's happening is what do sellers want?
Sellers, they want the easy way out.
What's that?
I was saying they want the easy way out.
Oh yeah, 100%, bro. 100%. They want the easy way out. So most likely than not, you're gonna get somebody that says, "I want to sell the property as is." Am I correct?
Yep.
Right. Sebastian said, "Is a rent credit an actual legal thing, or is it just a monetary? It's just a monetary concession. That's it." He goes, "I haven't heard of this before." It's because you're in Canada, man. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking, Sebastian. Sebastian actually was one of my students in the master class. No. So all it is monetary concession. I'm calling it a rent credit because that's the best way I can describe it. But it's just a monetary concession.
It's a good marketing tool to your buyers. This is a good marketing tool to your buyers, like you were saying earlier. It just helps. Here's what we're selling it at. You have the sell price, and we'll even credit you $6,000 of rent credit.
Yep, exactly.
So
and buyers feel more comfortable. Yeah. And buyers feel more comfortable taking on a property that has a 3-month, maybe up to 6-month lease. I would say if you get past that, I don't think we had really good feedback once we got past that, once that 6 months mark. I think that's probably the limit as far as it can go. So now we're talking to the seller, and the seller is basically, saying, hey, no, I want you to buy this property as is. Okay, so now it's going to be negotiation time, right? Because, and let's say that they already gave you an asking price. That was before they told you that the tenants were in place, and that's before they told you that they wanted the property to be bought as is with the tenants, right? So now we're going to say, go ahead.
Sorry, I think that's very important that you highlight that with everyone there.
No, go ahead. Talk about it
first. No, because I heard you do it today, and obviously I've heard you do it plenty of times. But guys, it's really crucial to get the price first. Right? What are you hoping for? What are you asking? You guys all know that process. If you don't, work with Max a little bit more on that. After that, then you get into the scenario of the tenants, because you can use that as leverage. Because if they say, "Oh, I want to sell it as is," then you get back to the pricing, right, at 50,000, right? I think that's what Max did today.
That's what I did today, and the guy's like, he's like, "I want 50,000." I said, "Okay, $50,000," and they're like, with or without tenants? And he's like, "Well, I would want to sell it as is." And I'm like, "Oh wow!" And he kind of started a little bit, right? He's like, like kind of second guessing himself. So this is the part where I'm glad you highlighted that, because it's normally going to happen, because obviously, again, sellers aren't going to tell you everything up front. They're going to say, "I want X amount for the property." Then you start finding out there's tenants. Maybe they're month to month. Now the question is, okay, so you want $50,000 for this property, and yet you want me to buy it with tenants in place. How am I supposed to do that? So now, in essence, they have to justify. Now, that's a Chris Voss thing for you guys that are like, "Oh, Chris Voss," right? How am I supposed to do that? Now they have to justify to me why I should pay $50,000, and I also have to basically incur or inherit bad tenants. You see what I'm saying? And most of the time, just like on that call you heard today, right, Ryan? I mean, the guy was like like he didn't know what to say, right? Because it's in essence, you're basically telling like, are you dumb? Like, you want me to pay you full price plus kick out the tenants? But obviously we don't say it like that. We say it in a nice way.
He says, they say it.
Go ahead. What's that?
They say it. You're making them say it. The cognitive dissonance in their own head when they say it out loud. Wait a minute. I'm asking $50,000. Oh, and I'm asking them to do this with the tenants. That doesn't sound right. And that's basically what Max is talking about. Yep. You make them make them understand their own truth there.
Yeah, so you need to negotiate, man. Once you hear that they want to sell it as is. Now, the great thing, here's the cool thing though, is that sellers don't know this, but we're still going to make them sign a 30-day notice to vacate. We're going to do all the work for them, right? And what happens is that what we're going to do now is we're going to help the seller. Once we find out the price, we negotiate, we make the seller, let them know like, hey, okay, so you want me to pay $50,000. You also want me to inherit the tenants so I can evict them. Somebody who hasn't paid you in a year and a half. How am I supposed to do that? Now they're going to start to negotiate against themselves. And then, obviously we want to get it at the lowest price possible. I don't care if the tenants are in place, because if it's a month-to-month tenant, it's a lot easier to evict than a long-term lease tenant, right? And so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say, once we negotiate, once we come to a price on your deal, you got a $10,000 price drop, right? Or how much was it? $15,000 because you
guys 10. It was from 160.
It was 10. Okay. You want to talk about your deal, because I know with this guy I'm still working, the one I'm talking to today, but because now we're transitioning into your deal. Can you talk about how you guys got that $10,000 drop?
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, basically, again, we agreed at the 160. He did say tenant in place. The tenant was actually being pretty nice in the beginning, playing along, was agreeing, know they had time to get out. So it didn't really seem like an issue in the beginning. So the first couple of weeks, we were good to go. Now, getting to Max's point, we started to notice the tenant wasn't really wanting to leave, started asking us, certain questions. So the writing was on the wall. This is going to be a little bit tougher. So we went back to the seller and said, hey, this is not what we agreed on. Seller is not wanting to move out. In order for us to help you, here's what we're going to have to do. So we explained, we're going to have to do the notice to vacate. We may have to go get an attorney. We may have to go to the court. There's a few different scenarios that could happen. For us to do this, we're going to have to put work in. So we negotiated down to 150. So we got $10,000 off to help, what am I trying to say here? Like, absorb the extra work and the money that it's going to take to evict them and get them out in time. Yep. So again, just leveraging the scenario.
Yeah. And a $10,000 price drop is significant, right? I think that's a really good drop. Obviously you always want to get the most, drop, but here, you should have probably gotten more. I would say at least 20 on that deal, but it's all right. One thing is that you guys have to think about what's happening right now. Everything we just explained, right? You're going to be talking to a lot of sellers like this. They have a lot of month-to-month tenants, and what's going to happen? You need to be prepared for the conversation as to position yourself that you're willing to buy the property. But here's the cool thing. So the next conversation, once we agree on price, what we're going to do is we're going to prep the seller. We're going to say, look, Ryan's my seller again. I'm using Ryan here in the example. Is Ryan, one thing I like to do now that we're under contract is, because I want to buy this property, and by the time we're closing, I want to get this project started. So what we're going to do is now that we're under contract, you got the offer you want, you feel comfortable with the price and the terms and everything. We're going to write up a 30-day notice to vacate, and we're going to have you sign it. And basically it's going to come from you. And then we're going to send it on a what did you guys send it on? A certified mail, right? Certified mail. Yeah, send it to the tenant. 30-day notice to vacate, and the seller sign. Obviously, they sign and they send it to them. So now what happens is you bought a property. Remember, this only works with the month-to-month tenant. Now you bought a property with at a deeper discount because the tenant was in place. Second thing now is that you're working with the seller, or the seller's working with you, and you got to position yourself as this is going to happen as soon as you start working with the seller, so they can sign that 30-day notice to vacate. And then that 30-day notice to vacate goes out And then what happens now, you set yourself up for the property to be vacant at close of escrow. How beautiful is that, right? So we just negotiated $10,000 price reduction. Should have got 20, but I'm not going to beat you up on that, Ryan. I know it wasn't you that negotiated, but now you got a property at a deeper discount. Well, guess what? The tenant's now in your Ryan, the seller, is now on my side. We write up a 30-day notice to vacate. We certify mail it over to the tenant, and now the tenant has 30 days to get out, and that means by the time you close, the property's going to be vacant. I mean, what else scenario where I mean, that's a really good deal where most people would have stayed away from that deal. I mean, think about it. Before you knew this, Ryan, would you do a deal like that?
No. Right away, I think of attorneys, thousands of dollars, stuff above my head. I don't want to deal with this. That's crazy.
Right.
Before I knew any of this, that's your thoughts.
So basically, if you are talking to a seller that a seller has a tenant in place, if they're month to month, and again, guys, this is for Arizona. I'm not here saying that every state's going to be the same. So you need to know like your tenant and landlord laws in your own state. You don't have to know everything, but you have to know like vacate. I know there's some states that require different paperwork. We're only talking about our experience here in Arizona, but I think for the most part, there's the same process happens in multiple states. So it doesn't matter. Just make sure that it doesn't matter if there's tenants in place, as long as they're month to month. And you know that the seller's willing to work with you, get the deeper discount, negotiate it because you're willing to agree to buy that property with the tenant in place, and then get the seller to work with you to provide that 30-day notice to vacate. And the thing is, what happens psychologically, it's not the seller doing it. That's what you were able to do this, right? You want to talk about that, Ryan?
Yeah, because we're taking over everything. All the responsibility is on us. So we have to file again. We get them to sign the 30-day notice to vacate. Again, Max said certified mail. Key there, certified mail. That's for a reason, so they can prove that it was delivered. And then we're the ones on the phone with the tenants, talking to them about the options. When the due date is, when they need to be out, what's going to happen if not. And and believe it or not, you got to play nice with the tenant, or else they'll even shut you out too, and it gets even worse.
Yeah, I would say when you are talking to them, though, is make sure that you don't position yourself as the owner. You're just the buyer, and the seller gave you their number to see how you can help. So the seller's still technically the only legal individual that can tell them anything to get out, anything like that. But the seller has given you permission to just talk to them how you can help them and stuff like that, because they don't know that the 30-day notice to vacate came from you, right? I mean, the tenant doesn't know that. Because everything's. Go ahead. Because why? How come they don't know that the seller?
No, they said they're thinking that it's the seller, because the seller, even though we help them fill out that form, it's from the seller. The seller's doing it. We just help them, right? We just give them walk them through the steps. So that letter, when it goes to the tenant, it's from the actual owner of the property who they know. So they again think it's them, and we're just there to process the transition.
Yeah, for sure. And so then, I mean, so far we're good up to this point, right? Like, we found a deal, whether it's a landlord or somebody that just rented out the property to someone they know, it doesn't matter, but they don't want to deal with it, right? They're like, you know what, you have to buy the property as is, and most people would shy away from this. I think it's a great opportunity to get a deeper discount. Now, obviously, if it's a great tenant, because I think Jay asked this question here, he said, hey, Max, have you came across seller finance with solid tenants or terrible tenants? Is that even a thing? Yeah. So it's the same thing. So if you find a good seller finance deal and they're great tenants, we'll keep them. Why would you evict them? Because at the end of the goal, originally that's what you want to do with the seller finance deal, is rent the property if you're not going to, assign it to another buyer. But it's the same process. I mean, honestly. The key here is not so much whether it's a cash buy property or seller finance. The key here is whether the tenants have a month-to-month lease or a long-term lease. That's the difference, right? That's the one thing you have to be careful, is that you basically have to see if they have a long-term lease, or short-term lease. So now we're good, right? I found Ryan, the seller, motivated, has a property, has a tenant that hasn't paid in a year. He doesn't want to deal with it. He wants to sell it to me as is. got him to drop the price at 10,000. Now he's working with me because he feels like I'm now solving his problem, right? And so matter of fact, it's funny. I just thought about this for some reason. I'm reading a book today, Questions to Sell. I'm going to share it with you guys later, but it just actually talked about this. How the best salespeople actually, how the best salespeople stand out besides like the normal, which I just did, right? Figuring out what your problem was, understanding your problem, things like that. But that's another rant. That's another video for another day. We'll talk about that probably on the Closers Lab. But again, right? I found Ryan, solved this problem. Now Ryan's working with me. I write up the 30-day notice to vacant, and then basically what happens is that now I'm gonna get a property that's vacant, that's gonna be vacant at close of escrow. That's the perfect scenario, right? So far we're good. Sebastian said, so is it a condition for you to be able to have the landlord give these notices? Would you ever buy it if they refuse that? Not sure if I'm missing something. No, you're not missing nothing. I think you're analyzing it just a little bit, which is okay, because either way, either scenario can come up, right? It's a condition for, I don't know, Ryan. I don't think it's a condition, right, for us to have the landlord do this. Have we ever made it a condition?
I've never had anyone give us any pushback or say anything different. And it's almost like they kind of already know that that's part of the process.
They do. Yeah. The biggest concern with somebody that has tenants is that they're going to scare them to tell them they're selling the property and they're going to leave before they have a commitment from you. I think that's the biggest thing that we've seen, right, Ryan? I don't know if there's anything else that we've seen before.
So I'm saying they're trying to avoid risk as much as possible, right? If we don't buy the property, now the tenant's spooked, are they going to leave? And on the other end, if they spook the tenant and they're bad tenants, are they going to destroy the property before vacate the premises? So there's a lot of risk that you have to leave for the seller.
The second part of that question is, would you ever buy it if they refuse that? I would just get a bigger discount. Again, it goes back to the higher the risk, the better the reward it has to be, right? You can't like offer the highest number off the back. So if there's, we've never seen sellers create a problem for this, but I know that obviously you got to negotiate it. It's never been a condition either, but it has to be for a long time there, we were advertising 6 months, stay up to 6 months, which actually I'm doing right now in my text messages. That's gotten me the highest response rate, right? Choose your own closing day and stay up to 6 months. So a lot of people are, again, it's not a condition. It's just the deal has to be great. The deal has to be awesome. And basically it can't be a bad deal. Condition, not contractual, but whether you will spend your time on the lead if they would go agree to that. Got it. Okay. So it looks like we cleared that up for them. So now, this tenant specifically, this one that you got, right? What does it say? Gabe said 72 sold. Right, exactly. 70. Huh? What's that?
So we beat them.
Yeah, we'll beat them, bro. So it's a good strategy because they basically because what happens is that for us, we could let them stay, like if it's a good seller finance deal. Again, most buy and hold guys are going to, or most investors, if you get a good deep enough discount, they don't mind 3 months. They don't mind 6 months. It's just from what I've seen in our experience. But what happens, it comes back to the deal. That's really what it comes down to, honestly. Jay said that just solved the gray area for me when seller says, "I'll tell you everything once I know you're going to buy it." There you go. See, exactly. I'll tell you everything once I know you're going to buy it. Like that's tough, bro. How are you supposed to buy something you don't know about, right? You should tell them. So when you go on Craig, when you go to the dealership, do you look at the cars that don't have price on there or the ones that have the price on it? No, I'm just kidding. So Ryan, so you were up to this point, everything was good, but then this is where the deal could go south, right? And it's not really south, but this is where the tenant can now, if this is why you said earlier, right? I think you made a very good point. You need to stay in touch with the tenants. You need to play nice, let them know that you're there to help them. You're just the buyer. Because, I think, what's your scenario? What's going on now?
Yeah, so basically tenants saying, hey, we haven't found a place to go. We don't have anywhere to go. We're not leaving. So that obviously was a pretty big surprise, and that's a big hurdle, right? Okay, well, what does that mean, right? And then for us, what does that mean for us? What do we got to do to entice him or her to continue to move out? Is there something that we're going to have to provide? Do we got to renegotiate something? I mean, that would be between us and the actual tenant. But that's what's happened. She's now saying, "Hey, I have nowhere to go, so I'm not leaving."
Yeah, and so what's funny is that wasn't the conversation in the beginning, correct? So
No, not
now,
at all.
but here's the thing though, is tenants will sometimes try to do this, but the thing is that they've already been notified. They got the 30-day. This is why it's very important to check with your state, because if Arizona is once you give the 30-day notice, they have to get out, and then they don't get out by the 30th day, then you do the 5-day, and then the eviction, the constable will come to the door and kick them out. But that's why it's important to check, because again, depending on how long the process can be for your state, you may that might, even if it's a deep discount deal, it might not work for you. Who knows? But it's here in Arizona, for the most part, it's a pretty fast process, right? You give the 30-day notice, and then if they don't get out by the 30-day, then the 5-day notice to get out, eviction, and then the constable comes and knocks on the door. So it's not a dead deal. It's not a dead whatever, but it's still, because the key here out of all this conversation is making sure that 30-day notice to vacate happens. Now, if it doesn't, you need to make sure that you get a deeper discount, because you're still able to sell it if you need to. You're just gonna have to get a deeper discount. But guys, things can go. I'm not saying these deals are pretty. I'm not saying that these deals. We had one where it took a year and a half, or a year, sorry, and so these deals, but they're there. They're there for you to negotiate, get a deeper discount. A lot of times they go really well. A lot of times they go south. I mean, right now I don't think your deals went south, Ryan, but I think it's
Yeah,
now the tennis playing hardball. You know what I mean?
yeah. Tenant's playing hardball, so now we got to stay focused and follow the proper steps and procedures, obviously, that we're going to continue to get into here to keep the deal and to keep it alive and to sell it to the end buyer. It could be it's
Right.
doable. It's just taking the proper steps. That's all.
Yeah, correct. It's not a dead deal. It's still in play. And I mean, but this is the risk and reward, guy. We're in the business of risk and rewards, right? And it's not just tenants in place, it's everything else. But we wanted to talk about this today because I feel like there's going to be a lot of opportunities with these types of deals out there. And just because they have this scenario going on, don't shy away from it. Don't just because a seller says, "Hey, buy the property," you have to buy it as is with the tenants in place. That means that's not saying that it's a deal breaker for you. It's just understanding the situation, solving problems, and then understanding that there is an opportunity for you, because most salespeople, guess what? As soon as they see that problem, or sorry, most investors or most people that are actually are looking at a deal like this, what are they going to do, Ryan? Your
Oh, they're
competitor
gonna walk
that's out
away.
there.
Yeah. If people are looking at this and it's too complicated, they're gonna walk away. Right. The person that
Right?
sticks in it, figures it out, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get the deal. They're gonna solve the problem. And these are the ones that feel good too when you actually solve the problems when you're done.
Yeah, because you've got, and because it's not just that you got a good deal, but you were able to solve the problem with a guy that basically that's been wanting to sell the property for a year, or has a tenant who hasn't paid in 6 months. And so, guys, there's deals out just like any other deal, right? If you're looking at a deal that somebody has, a certain situation, you got to be able to learn how to solve these problems, and the deals are out there, and you're going to be able to get a big what is it called, a better deal, if you know how to solve that problem, negotiate. So don't shy away from deals with tenants in place. Don't shy away with working with the seller to evict the tenant if they're month to month. There's ways you can go about it. Again, you may want to check some things in your state, depending on what state you're in. Any question, guys? So far, we covered quite a bit here. Any questions that you guys might have on this, or any deal that you got going on? Because I think it's very important to understand that there's going to be a lot of opportunities. I mean, there's had a bunch of conversations already with people who own properties that are not that are more like mom and pop landlords, right? That are more like absentee owners with another property that they let someone stay. Now they got to kick them out. So is there any other questions, guys, or did you find this valuable? Did you guys what was the thing that you got out of this? If you can drop some fire emojis, thumbs up, that way it lets us know that at least what we talked about tonight is actually something you can go use and implement. And basically, you might want to watch this again so you can, basically learn the conversation, and that way you can get a bigger discount. Because, I mean, I don't know about you, Ryan, but most of the conversations, I mean, how many people have you talked to that have tenants in place during?
Yeah, it's very common. I was about to say, these guys need you. They need us, guys, homeowners that have tenants in place that aren't paying, that are getting taken advantage of. They need help. They need our help to go out there and solve the problems. And if you're able to solve the problem, you're going to get paid pretty well doing it. So this is something not to shy away from. This is something to go after, learn. You can reach out to Max and myself outside of this if need be to get some follow-up questions. Like Max said, watch this over. But people need your help. The people are getting taken advantage of, and they need people like yourselves to get out there and solve the problem.
Yeah, make sure that, again, guys, there's going to be, this is another thing too, there's actually a link that's going to be below this video that says, want me to call your leads, submit them here. If you have a deal that you're basically, that maybe you have a seller that has a tenant, or maybe the situation, this is why it's called Club Collab, because we want to collaborate with you, right? We obviously want to help you, whether it's your first deal, whatever that is. I want to make sure that we're there for you. Obviously, Ryan, you can reach out. Ryan is on top of building those relationships. If it's a seller, it doesn't have to be under contract. We want to help you through these, through the process of understanding how to negotiate a deal with the tenant in place. Let's see. Alex says, I don't have any questions right now, but I appreciate you guys hopping on and giving out very valuable information in real world scenarios. Yeah, you're welcome, brother. I appreciate it. Jay, thank you for the fire emojis. Steven Valencia said, I'm ready. Let's go. Motivation and good gems for the current market. Let's go. We got to get him a first deal. Has he gotten his first deal yet, Steven?
I don't. He's getting close. I know him. He's been working with Jesse quite a bit.
We need to get you your first deal, bro. We need to get you your first deal so you can get into this thing full time. Jay said about the
right attitude, putting in all the effort though, bro. Got to call him out for that.
It's gonna come. It's gonna come. So Jay said about to call these for sale by owners and seller finance up to those properties. Let's do it, bro. Exactly. That's a way to go. Cesar said, thank you. That's Cesar, right? I think that you did the podcast with. Okay,
yes,
cool,
sir.
Cool. Awesome. But guys, if you are actually talking to a seller, you're running to the situation, you don't know what to say yet, don't hesitate. Reach out to us. Ryan, you want to again, there is a submission form that says want me to call your leads, submit them here. There's actually a phone number on there. So if you have any questions on there, you can call that phone number. It'll go to Ryan. Ryan will pick up. That's why we made this show, Club Collab. We want to collaborate with you. We want to help you. You guys have heard us. You know the whole spiel, right? We're here for you guys. So that way we can, help you guys out. But if you have any questions right now, drop them in the comment section. And if there's anything else that we need to go further on, we can definitely have you drop the information inside that link. So that way Ryan can look at it and reach out to you. So it looks like I'm dealing with a landlord that's ready to sell, but being stubborn on price, and tenant hasn't paid rent in the past year and is now in jail. Holy smokes. Okay. This is crazy, bro. I love it. So the tenant is in jail? Is that right? Is the tenant in jail? I think, right? Am I getting that right? Or is the landlord in jail? Okay, cool. So the landlord, let's see. I'm dealing with the landlord that's ready to sell, but being stubborn on price. And the tenant hasn't paid rent in the past year and now in jail. Okay, yeah. So if I read this correctly, the tenant is in jail and he hasn't paid rent in the past year. So couple of things here. I don't know who else is living in the property. If that's the tenant that's in jail, so I'm assuming that their property still is in the house, right? Because the guy's in jail. He obviously, I don't know if he has moved out or not. So who depends on if there is somebody else, like a family member, somebody else living in the property. So the seller has to figure out first what he's going to do with that stuff, because technically, I don't think he can actually get in there and throw that stuff out. He has to find a way to actually get it over to somebody or the tenant. So let's deal with the first part of the question. I'm dealing with the landlord that's ready to sell, but being stubborn. So a lot of times, how come they want to sell? Besides, obviously we know there's big motivation, right? The tenant hasn't paid rent. Now, so I guess you have to ask them a couple of questions, right? For me, and the question I would ask is really simple. I don't know. Is this contract season worldwide? What's your first name, bro? I'm so sorry. Well, let me know what your first name is. But I guess, Ryan, if I was talking to you, the first question I would say, look, Ryan, in order for me to help you, obviously we have to deal with a couple factors here. You've had a tenant in here that hasn't paid in over a year. There's obviously now he updated the comment. He said there's squatters in there now in the property. So I think at this point you should be able to you still have to evict, get the constable, the sheriffs to go out there, lock that place up. And then I think you're still gonna have to go through the process somebody has to come get that stuff before you can get it out, right? The seller has to do this. Now, if I'm talking to the seller and I say, look, in order for me to help you out, right, Ryan, you're the seller. In order for me to help you out and understand this is, you got a lot of going on here. So when I buy this property from you, I'm gonna buy this property completely vacant. I don't have to deal with squatters or the renters, Ryan. Answer that question.
I think the guy is renting it is in jail. I haven't got paid in over a year, and I believe there's somebody living in there.
Got it. Okay. So what would your perfect scenario be if, to sell this property? I
just want to get rid of this. I just want to get rid of it. Just buy it, sell it, whatever I need to do.
When you say get rid of it, what do you mean by that? You just want to get rid of it. What do you mean by that?
I want to sell the property. I have no clue on how to deal with the tenant that's no longer there. The people who I think are squatting in it. I don't know the process. I don't have time for it. I just want to sell the property. You can deal with all that stuff.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you obviously are dealing with somebody that hasn't paid rent in a year and a half, or almost a year. They're in jail. There's squatters there. And you just want somebody to buy that property with all that stuff going on. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
So let's pretend someone can do that. What were you hoping to get for that property?
I was hoping to get 120. That's what I was been advertising it for.
So you see, contract season worldwide. I'm going to call you that because that's what your YouTube name says. You see how I just positioned myself. First, you need to have the seller talk about the problem, right? Or Ryan, you want to talk about what I just did to you right there?
Yeah, he pulled out all the info, right? Like what's going on. I said everything that's going on, the 3 different scenarios.
His name is Vince. What's up, Vince?
Hey, Vince. Vince. Cool. Then he asked, "Oh, hey, in a perfect world, I mean, what do you want to do?" Right? Asking the seller, "What do you want? What do you want from me here? How can I help?"
Exactly.
You? Right? And made me say, "Hey, dude, take it all. I don't want to deal with this." Going from the scenario said it was overwhelming, right? So I don't want to deal with this. I just want to sell it. You take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
He said, Go ahead. No, go ahead. No, and then I said what, Ryan?
No, then you brought up you referenced the price again, right? But you did it a little hesitantly, and you're asking what for this, right? You're already putting doubt in me going, oh, stuff. If what I'm asking, is that even right? Right. I'm going to have that cognitive dissonance in my own head of disagreeing with myself with what I'm about to say.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, the seller's strong on the price. I'm guessing he's strong on not giving the price. But so there's here's the problem, though, Vince, is that a lot of times we confuse situation with pain. And a situation is not pain. It's not motivation at all. So what happens is that until that situation becomes personal and it's costing money, losing sleep, there's frustration, there's all this stuff that's happening where the seller can't take it anymore. That's when you're going to be able to negotiate a deeper discount. There has to be that. It can't just be a situation of, hey, there's a tenant who hasn't paid. Some people don't care, right? Some people just, they'll live with it, right? Either because they have money or they don't need to sell. So that's one thing that, what's the reason for selling? What's his pain? Just because this is happening, and that's a situation. That doesn't mean that that's motivation or pain. He thinks he's already given me a discount on price in his eyes because the property has bills he has to pay on. So did he give you a price or he hasn't given you a price? I'm confused. Because earlier you said that he doesn't want to give. And here you said that the seller's, no, that's not it. I'm sorry.
I think he gave him a price. I think he's stuck, like the seller is hard on the price he gave him, thinking that, hey, that's a big enough discount.
Oh, stubborn on price. I'm sorry. Okay, got it. Yeah. Well, I just think like, even if he's giving you, there's just not enough pain there, man. When you make it about price, what I just did to Ryan, right? I put him in an emotional state by asking him a question. So we're in the sifting business. We're not in the convincing business, right? This might be a follow-up game for you because I can tell you 9 out of 10 wholesalers, investors, they're not going to touch this, but you are. You understand the situation, and you just need to keep them on a follow-up. You're not going to beat them down to the price you want. There has to be pain. Am I wrong on that, Ryan?
No, you're absolutely right. And I was already just thinking of a scenario that I know you would be saying when he's saying here, the property has bills he has to pay. Well, what's going to happen if you continue to not get rent from a tenant who
if somebody
there, right?
That's a good point, bro. If Ryan told me, hey, the property has bills to pay, what am I going to tell you, Ryan? Well, that's okay. I mean, it's not a problem for you. You can pay those. I'm going to push it back, right? Hey, that's okay. Yeah. I mean, we all got bills. I'm assuming that's not a problem for you. Of course it is. I can't pay these. Okay, well, if you can't pay them, then, let's go back to the price because I want to help you to get rid of this. So, again, there's got to be the situation is not motivation. Good point on that, Ryan. Let me see. I think Sebastian had a question back here. He says, I have a seller whose family moved into the property. They won't leave. They are now considered tenants. He doesn't want to go into legal action. When I said I would walk him to the process, he said that it was too overwhelming and wouldn't want to do it. How would you navigate this? So 2 things. The first thing is that this might be a situation. Maybe that's why you referenced earlier. If the seller doesn't want to do that, this might be a situation where you could buy the property with the tenants in place, but understand that you need to get a better deal, right? You need to get a better deal. So when you do the eviction, because you're gonna have to, regardless. I don't know. Again, in Canada, obviously, I don't know if the evictions are different or the notice to vacates work different. Like here, every state has their own stipulation or whatever. So need to make sure that that check first. But I would say if it's a really good deal, don't worry about that because you can always give the notice to vacate right after you buy. You can work with your buyer, explain to him what's going on, maybe give the buyer even a deeper discount. Now the other thing that you could do is you could talk to the seller. You could talk to the seller and basically work with the seller. Don't let the seller do it all by himself, right, Ryan? I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make.
Yeah, don't know. You're going to set yourself up for failure, thinking that they're going to follow through or do what they said they're going to do, or do it to the speed that you want it done. No.
Yeah, you can't let the seller do it by himself. It's kind of like you have to grab their hand and walk them, and because if not, what could happen is that the seller is probably overwhelmed, and then there's a lot of emotional attachment there because it's people he knows. Correct.
He has a relationship of some sort with that tenant, and that tenant can lean on him too emotionally. So yeah, it's just a tough situation.
No, exactly. Let's see. Vince said, "Yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly." Again, one thing is asking them, right? Like, hey, but I'm assuming that's not a problem for you paying those bills. Like, if there's pain, there's motivation there. He's gonna say, "Yeah, I got to get rid of this thing." That's gonna happen. Sebastian said, "We haven't even been able to get inside the house." Yeah, I mean, that always happens. I mean, that's happened to us, especially when there's tenants in place. It's tough.
Sometimes you can get creative. We got creative a couple times. This again depends on the scenario and how open the seller is. But we go in and say, hey, we're just going in because the seller's looking to upgrade the house, do some home improvements. We go in there, as Max said, like as a GC, just to take a look. We're getting estimates for the seller. He's going to do some home improvement soon, maybe paint, upgrade, whatever. So sometimes you got to get creative. Again, don't know how comfortable you guys are with that, but we've had to do things like that.
Yeah, so that's a good point because I think a lot of people, a lot of sellers don't want to let you in because they don't want the tenant to know they're selling the property. But a really good way to actually get access to the property is by telling them, look, you don't have to tell them you're selling it. Just let them know that I'm coming in as a contractor or as a landscaper, as whatever, as an inspector. It doesn't matter. Put something that can ease the seller's mind. I won't ask any questions. I'm just there to look at the property. And what happens is that it actually opens up the door for them to get you in, whatever that is, right? So there's ways that you can get into the property without actually being the buyer. That you can get creative with it, like Ryan said. So we were ready to lock it up with the tenant family in there, but haven't been able to see it. I tried bringing resources from my network to walk him, but he refused those. I would go back and if you haven't explored that strategy, like, hey, don't tell them we're selling. Like, just let them know that you're having somebody like an inspector or somebody that's giving you a quote, even with windows, because that actually works really well, right? So you got to get measurements. Somebody that might, say, hey, somebody that's going to give me quote on painting it to see if I'm going to be able to paint it or not. So that's another scenario that you can use, and then the sellers a lot of time feel really comfortable letting you in. That we've done that all the time, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And key, Max, is again to kind of go back with these guys a little bit, how you developed a relationship with the seller, how confident you relay yourself and say, Mr. Seller, I do this all the time. In the past, what we've done is, right, you got to make sure that you're confident. Yeah. You got to sell your confidence to them as well. You can't just be there some slick sales guy. Oh yeah, hey, I'll go in and just be this and be that. They're not going to let you in the house.
Yeah, no. Says, we plan to visit the house. The tenant family has been physically abusing anyone that has come there. Police have been called. Seller not sure we should move on as seller has given up. I mean, this is a high pain scenario, right? We got a lot of things going on here.
I would not walk.
I would say, what's that?
I would not walk away from this. This is
no. What would you do, Ryan, in this scenario?
Yeah, so this really is again waiting out the pain of the owner, right? Like again, asking them questions. You know, how does this make you feel? What do you plan on doing? Has that worked? Right, all those the pain funnel questions. And then from here, basically, this is I'm sure you're gonna have to get legal action. I haven't done this or been involved in this by any means, but it's not something I'd walk away. This is stuff that I would do research and find the right resource.
So I'll share a story with you. We bought a house I want to say 2.5 years ago. I think you're right. You weren't there yet, but so there was 4 siblings. And one of them was still staying in the property. And I've shared this with you. It's the biggest deal that we ever done. These deals can be huge. And so the 3 siblings went and talked to the one sibling, Sebastian, and they're like, hey, we want to sell the property because we don't want to have any situation happen and then it come back on us. And the one sibling that was staying in the property actually got aggressive and chased all 3 of the other siblings with the baseball bat. Right. So he was abusive to anybody that would show up to the house. As a matter of fact, even all the way to the end, the process server or whatever, right? What are those called? The deliver paperwork service processor or something. So she was able to get away, but she drove off and he threw a brick towards her car. I don't think I don't think he hit her car, but that's what he did. But long story short, we wanted to get him out, but that didn't happen. And basically what happens is that we were able to get the property for $21,000. That's in order for us to, because understanding everything that they had went through, like we weren't going to be in any better position. If he was being aggressive to the family members, how much more was he going to be aggressive to us as these other individuals that are basically trying to take the property, right? And so we ended up buying the property. We paid the siblings off. And it was a different scenario because everybody had a share. It was 4 of them. So we bought out the 3 shares. We bought out the 3 siblings at $7,000 each. And so once we bought out their interest in the property, and then guys, this is what Nicoletti's gonna talk about next week. Isn't this exciting, bro? Like this is what's gonna talk about: probate, creative deals like this. So then we bought them out, but we bought him with him staying, the Ford siblings staying there, but we had to get it at the deepest discount. They wanted $21,000 each. I remember in the negotiation, the one sister thought she was getting $21,000 each, and I said no, $21,000 total. There's no way. You know how long this is going to take, and it took 11 months to take possession of the property, right? And we finally settled with the 4 siblings. So I would not, Ryan is right. I would not walk away from this. I would still pursue it, but you also have to realize that this might be a dogfight. This might be a long-term deal. This might be a situation where you're going to have to get really creative. And again, even though maybe that person that's staying in the property is not on title, but it still sounds like it's somebody that's going to have to get evicted. So think about that. I think you can get it even because here's the problem. You're solving their situation, you're solving their problems, right? But it has to make sense because now you're taking that problem and you're making it your problem. So it needs to make sense for you in regards to getting that deal done. So Steven says, pull the pain points from seller about cops at the property because of tenants. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. I would go back. Abel said, batter up. Yeah, no, for sure, man. He was chasing them. Steven said, wow, that's crazy. Follow up and be relentless. Yes, 100%, man. Again, it was a crazy deal, but we got it done, and that was the most money we ever made on one deal. But obviously on a span of 18 months, almost whatever, 13 months, but still, it was crazy. It was a good deal. So, but no, man, this has been awesome. Guys, if there's no more questions, again, I'm gonna have the link. What I can do is let me see if I can copy the link, and I'm gonna post it on the comment section. Oh shoot, I don't know if that's gonna work or not. But anyways, wow, it looks terrible.
I can see it.
Oh, can you?
I can see it.
Can you click on it though?
No,
you can't click on it.
Yeah.
What's that? I don't know why you can't click on it, but
dude, is it two? Is it two?
Yeah, it did two links. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why it did that. It's really weird, dude. Actually, what I'm gonna do is instead of let me see here. The link's gonna be down below in the once the video's done. There's going to be the link's gonna be down below, so that way you guys can click on it. And then actually, I can paste it right here. It's a pretty long link. Why is it? That's not it, bro. That's not the link. My bad.
They're not the right
Sorry,
one.
guys. Let me give you. It doesn't look like that's the right one. So, for some reason, it gave me this the wrong link. So, all right, guys. I just posted it. There you go. So basically, I posted the link. If you have a deal you need help on, if you want to collaborate with us, if you want us to help you, and anything that you have working right now that you don't know which way to go next, listen. That's what we call this club collab. We want to bring value to you. We want you to go take action. But if you get stuck, we want you also to reach out. And then let's see. Sebastian said, dang, you said it live here. Now I got to go do it. Now I got to do it. Let's go. Challenge. Let's see. Vince said, thanks for the gem, fellas. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you for being on. Abel said, good job, guys. More valuable info here than recent seminars I've been to. Hey, let's go. I love it. My guy, Mateo. What's up, bro? Mateo. Let's go. Looking to do some deals with Mateo, man. He's got he's out in Dallas. So looking to do Dallas. Guys, we're looking to do deals in Dallas, in Washington, Texas, and Alabama. And we have Georgia. We have a multitude of buyers that we can reach out to, that Ryan's built really good relationships with. I mean, the guy has that's one of his superpowers is building relationships. So Steven said, great value. Thank you for the time. I'm ready. Let's go. Well, guys, if there's no other questions, if there's anything else that we can do, really appreciate for being on next week. Jonathan said, it's crazy how much free game you give out in these live calls. Thank you, bro. Of course, bro. That's why somebody was hating on me on IG because I'm coming for these gurus, bro. So, no, it's not my mission, but I think people see it and people, cause they realize that we're not just out here fluff. We're not doing this. We want you to go take real world. What is the word I'm looking for here? Applications and go use it. What's that?
Yeah, you're wrong. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Ryan, how can they reach you if they want to collab besides the form that I put on there?
You guys can reach me on IG at Real Ryan Overcash. I have an updated email address, deals at phxinvesthub.net. Guys, there is absolutely telling you guys, no excuse. You guys have ways of reaching out to us on IG, on email. We have free information out
Well, except
anywhere.
for me, bro, not an IG yet.
Well, not he once we break Max out of jail. But guys, no excuse not to take action. Reach out to us. Don't hesitate. Don't sit on the sideline. This is all stuff for you guys to get better. We're giving you access to both of us. Reach out anytime. We're here to help.
Yeah. And guys, I highly recommend next week, invite a friend, tell somebody that's next week we're gonna have Al Nicoletti, probate attorney, awesome gentleman out of Florida. He's gonna bring the games, he's gonna bring value. He's gonna talk about, bring your questions, any questions that you have about probate, anything weird, any questions about chain of title. I mean, any questions that have to do with, I actually, what's crazy is I was talking to him about a deal that I wanted to do, which actually I'm going to save it for Monday. I'm going to save this for Monday because, guys, this is going to blow your mind. It's a deal that I asked them about where the seller passed away. There was a mortgage in place, and he told me about a thing that I needed. He told me how I can approach it to where I actually can buy the property without even needing the seller, which is crazy, bro. Only in America, right? Like you can actually he was behind on the mortgage, so that means that obviously one of the things was to pay what was in the rears, but then now you have an interest in the estate because you invested money. But I'm gonna bring that scenario up on Monday, and he's going to break. Guys, bring your questions. Go ahead, Ryan.
You saying Monday or Tuesday? You got me confused. What
Tuesday? Sorry, guys. Club Collab
on a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday. Let's go. I'm excited, bro. I'm excited for this. I think it's great. He says, I appreciate y'all. Keep it up. Thank you, Andrew. Sebastian says, thank you for your insights today. You're welcome. Sebastian said, you got to do deals in Canada, Max. Well, let's go, man. Let's do it.
We're looking at that. Believe me, we're figuring that Canada thing out soon, Sebastian. Hang in
there. Carlos dropping gems as always. I love.
Happy birthday, cool, Carlos.
Happy late birthday, bro. I told Ryan that he didn't reach out to you to say happy birthday, man. And guys, I told him, bro, you didn't say happy birthday to Carlos, bro. What's wrong with you? Guys, so I am campaigning to free the real Max Jimenez on Instagram. Bombard Instagram. free the real Max Jimenez on Instagram, but that ain't gonna stop us, guys. We're gonna continue. Remember, form's going to be there. If you got any deals you want us to work with, anything you want to help us with, it doesn't matter. Reach out. Ryan is available. There's actually a phone number on that form. You can call us directly. And I appreciate every single one of you. Share this live. Share the stream with someone that's struggling to do deals with tenants in place. I appreciate every single one of you. And we will see you on next Tuesday at 7 p.m. at Club Collab on a Tuesday. Later, guys.